V'ad oilam. Today, Asar B'Teves, we have to give some extra tzedakah, so let's do so, and let us discuss quickly what is today's fast day. Today, the 10th day of Teves, is one of the rabbinic fasts, and in fact, it's a very serious one. It's even more strict than any other fast in terms of the rabbinic fast. As an example, if the fast of Gedalia, the day after Rosh Hashanah, or the fast of Esther before Purim, will fall on a Friday, it will be either postponed or earlier. Except for Asar B'Teves, the 10th day of Teves, even if it would be on a Shabbos, we would have to fast. Why? Why are we so strict with that fast? At least in this part of the world, it is the shortest fast. Some places it's the longest, obviously. But what's so specific about this fast? So let's look at the history. During the first temple, in the year 3336, corresponding to 425 before the Common Era, the armies of Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia laid a 30-month siege to the walls of Jerusalem. Eventually, they breached the walls which was protecting the holy city of Jerusalem, which culminated in the destruction of the temple and then sending the Jewish people into Babylonian exile. Now, this is seen as the catalyst for the future exiles and a cataclysmic event from which we have never fully recovered. Because even when the second temple was finally built, it never returned to its full glory. And as I mentioned, this fast is stricter than the other fast. And the reason for that is because when we look at the prophets, it says the following, Vayidvar Hashem Elai. God spoke to me, Bashon HaTshis on the 9th year, V'chodesh HaSiri, on the 10th month, V'asar LaChodesh, on the 10th day of the month, Leimoyer, and tells me the following. God says, Ben Adam, Lo Ksov Loches Shem Hayoim Es Etzem Hayoim Hazeh, man, son of man, record, register, that very day, Hayoim Hazeh, Etzem Hayoim Hazeh, that very day, recorded, because that's the day where Samach Melech Bavel El Yerushalayim, that he laid siege on Jerusalem on that day. Since the Torah keeps on emphasizing that day, it means it is the day that has to be observed. And the reason is because although in terms of tragic events, others are much more severe, such as the destruction of the temple. Yet since this was the beginning is always the worst. That was the beginning of this laying siege around Jerusalem. It brought everything else was a follow-up of this. And therefore it is so severe. Because this is what led to the eventual destruction and the eventual going into exile. So every year, on the 10th of Teves, we observe the day of fasting and repentance. And it's actually a day to safeguard the walls of our identity. We must repair those breaches and making sure that the gates are functioning properly. What does that mean? On a personal level, that our gates, our walls, protecting us from the outside influences, are strong. But there's also something positive about it. Our sages tell us that the reason for the destruction of the temple, particularly the second temple, was because of sinat chinam, gratuitous hatred. So the response to that is gratuitous love. And when the unity of the Jewish people is so powerful, is so complete, no one can overcome us. So during the time of a siege, all the inhabitants of a city are prevented from going about their personal business and are joined together as a single collective entity. regardless of their own feelings of the enemy forces them to come together as one. And that's the key to redemption, Jewish unity. But let that unity not come because of the hatred of our enemies. Let that unity not come because of the negativity, but let that unity come because we're brothers. We love each other. No difference of how we behave, no difference of our level of adherence. Let's remember, of Echad HaKunana. We have one Father, and we have all the same soul, and therefore we are one. And therefore we should feel that oneness, and therefore we should express that oneness, and this expression of this unity will bring us that today we will stop the fast early, because we're going to start feasting with Mashiach and the Beis HaMikdash.